we got some news today about the next Suicide Squad movie, and it sounds like they're going to go all in with it. It sounds like this is going to be a big deal. So the first Suicide Squad, not a great movie. I enjoyed it. Do I own it? Yep. Have I watched it in a long time? No, not really. No. And that's the thing. So it's a good movie, not great. It has its weaknesses. The villain's a weakness. Some of the logic it goes out the window, but it's not a horrible movie by DC movie standards. Now, announced today, they announced the whole cast. I'm not going to get into who the whole cast is. You can find that news everywhere. But this shows that it's going to be big budget, and I'm pretty excited. Idris Elba will be Bloodsport, so good. I do like this. It's a shame Will Smith's not back in this. To be honest, I thought his Deadshot, I thought he was pretty good. John Cena will be Peacemaker. John Cena, for all the criticism he was taken 10 years ago for being WWE's, champ all the time, it seemed, or always in the running. John Cena is a fine actor, and as Peacemaker, I think it's a perfect match. So we'll see how that goes. Nathan Fillion is TDK, which could be short for Dark Knight, but I'm going to guess he's not Batman. But right now, people watching this are going to go, oh my god, Nathan Fillion would be amazing as Batman. Oh, I agree. Nathan Fillion could absolutely be the best Batman in the history of Batman. If you're not a huge Firefly fan and if you wouldn't just see the Captain when he's talking. But if he was going to be Batman, you'd have to take all the darkness out of it because he is such a delight. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays the role and how that works. And this one I'm most excited about. Peter Capaldi is the Thinker. The Thinker was a villain in the best season of The Flash. He's the best villain that The Flash has had. And he was probably very grateful that every time he was hunting somebody down, Barry Allen found him so he could kill them. And I don't, we'll just try to push that Flash aside. Barry Allen is the villain. We know this, right? I can explain this again with the Flash if I need to, but Barry Allen's the villain. So, yeah, Peter Capaldi is the Thinker. That's a fantastic hire. Peter Capaldi was my favorite Doctor. I have a Doctor Who jersey, which has the number 12 on the back because that's my Doctor. Everybody has their own Doctor when they watch Doctor Who. For some, it's 9, 10, 11, or 12. Or if you prefer the original Doctor Who, it might be 4, it might be 1. You might be like, you know what? The first Doctor got it right. The rest of them haven't been as good. So we'll see how Capaldi does the Thinker. I think it's a fantastic. That's perfect. He can be the Doctor. He can be an evil version of the Doctor. Basically, the Thinker, kind of a master-like character. It's going to be hard not to see him that way in this movie. So I'm looking forward to that. I did watch the trailer for The Batman to distinguish it from Batman. And Robert Pattinson, I know there are people who are going to say, oh, isn't he the one from Twilight? Yeah, he hates the Twilight movies too. He admitted that in all the... Basically, he might as well just had a sign around his neck when he did interviews for Twilight saying, this is just a job. I don't like this movie. Because he didn't. He mocked Twilight right into the ground. He understood the movies were crap. Robert Pattinson is a very good actor. He will be a great Batman. And I am excited about this movie. I think it's going to be good. I think it's a good sign. They've also had the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be rolling out. I'm looking forward to that. I think the DC universe, honestly, and I'm optimistic about this, the DC universe might finally be on the right track, and then maybe we can do a good Justice League movie. I know people are excited about the Snyder Cut. I'm a little less excited about the Snyder Cut. I'm not as convinced that the Snyder Cut's going to be fixing everything because you're looking for a movie that's going to fix everything that was wrong, which in Justice League was everything. So a recut of how everything's wrong. I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna fix it. I've watched the entire Justice League movie, just not all at once. I had to watch parts of it. So I was like, I watched 20 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go watch some. I'll watch that other 20 minutes later, and I'll watch another because it's bad. But the Batman looks very good. I honestly think the disaster of the Justice League movie finally convinced the studio that they had to fix the cinematic universe, which is weird because the TV universe is fantastic, and I will come back to that. I want to talk a little bit about baseball. The Padres are 17-12. Congratulations to them on that. The Pirates are 6-17, proving that no pandemic doesn't matter. The Pirates are still losing. And it's too bad. And I'm not trying to mock the Pirates and saying this. I want to see the Pittsburgh Pirates turn it around. I desperately want to see the Pittsburgh Pirates turn it around. And the results this year show me that they're not close. They're just not. And they've been below 500 for what, 2.5 decades? It's been a long time. It feels like it's been forever. So people say, well, they won championships. Yeah, I know. I remember the Bonds Bonilla era. I'm that old that I remember that. I remember Willie Stargell because I'm that old. But yeah, that's ancient history right now. It really is. The Yankees are 16-9 because we can't have nice things. The Red Sox are 9-20 because I can't have nice things. And the Sox, injuries and opt-outs and all these things being as they are, the Red Sox weren't expected to be great this year anyways, but 9-20 just feels like a complete disaster. The A's are 19-9 because they're going to get our hopes up. I would love to see the Oakland A's finally win a World Series again. Just, ever since the Moneyball movie to me ends on a bittersweet note. So it's like, okay, so Billy stays with the A's. But I'm a baseball fan enough to know they never did win a World Series, and the Sox did. So in the end, the movie kind of makes it look like Billy made the wrong decision. He should have gone to the Sox. He would have won a World Series, and he would have been vindicated. But he stays with the A's, and they're still searching for that first World Series. I am well aware Billy Beane is no longer the GM of the Oakland A's. So before anybody says you got that wrong, because Billy Beane isn't even GM anymore. Yeah, I know. He stopped being a GM, and they never won a World Series with him as GM, which sounds about right. The NFL is having some issues with COVID testing. So while I'm watching the NHL return in its bubble, and it's been great, there's been no positive tests. The problem with the NFL is something we see with the COVID tests, which is you can get false positives. It is not perfect testing. So they're getting false positives, and so they're shutting down some training camps, and they're trying to figure this out. Keep in mind, we haven't played games yet. So this is why with the NFL and with Major League Baseball, I have some concerns. And if you're the NHL and you're watching this, you're probably taking notes and going, okay, so when we try to have next season, this is how we're going to do it. And you have to find a way where players are able to see families and not feel like they're imprisoned. And I think they've done a good job in the NHL with this, but again, I think there's too much freedom with NFL and with Major League Baseball, and there's probably some sort of a happy medium to be had here to prevent the possibility of things shutting down. I will say that in baseball, it seems like players are taking it a little more seriously. We have heard less reports of positive tests. We've seen less games getting delayed or canceled, so fingers crossed that baseball's able to finish out its season. And at some point, I can do a video ranking my favorite teams in baseball from 1 through 30, and these guys are number 1. Just a spoiler alert. San Diego Padres have always been my favorite. That's why they lead off this board at 17-12, because I would love to see them win a championship. I don't care what the circumstance is. You can stick an asterisk next to that all you want. I want to see a Padres championship just once in my lifetime. That would be nice. I watched the first episode of season 5 of Lucifer, and the interesting thing is that I saw reports saying, they're playing it safe. They went back to the old Lucifer. They did. Thank you. It felt like an old episode. I didn't like Eve. And before that, I really didn't like the Cain storyline. Yvonne and I watching the whole Cain thing, we would talk during the episode saying, this doesn't make any sense. How does this Cain character make any sense? And we would watch from one scene to the next as he would make a decision, and we'd go, wait, that's counterintuitive to what his point is. Hasn't he been around for thousands of years? Shouldn't he be smarter than this? And he wasn't. He was an idiot. And so I'm as much as I love Tom Welling, the character was a moron. Absolute, complete, and total moron. No two ways about it. That's just, what an idiot. So I'm glad season 5 looks to be going back to a more Lucifer feel to it. And to see, characters being more like who they really are, rather than this weird. It almost turned into a comic book and I know there's a comic book origin to Lucifer, but it felt like a comic book halfway through season 4, to the point where I almost couldn't watch it anymore. Where I was like, this doesn't feel like the same show. The only inconsistency that still drives me nuts on this show is Amenadiel. Amenadiel, you'll have an episode where he it's like he's an alien from another world and he doesn't understand how humans speak. And then in the next episode, he can blend right in and he can go undercover and he can be absolutely convincing. And I'm like, wait, if he can do that, why doesn't he understand human emotion over here? So there's some concern I have with Amenadiel, but season 5, at least it wasn't stupid Amenadiel in the first episode. Although it was the whole, and again, if you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. The whole Lux thing is weird, and I was like, okay, so wait, what's going on? I don't, but wait, all right, and then they have this big surprise moment, and I was like, well, no. And if you guys know, you guys are watching, you can still arrest the guy. Is what I was saying to the TV when I was going on. Like, no, you can't just. I don't know. It's fine. It's whatever. Why? And then I was like, wait, why would there be that many police up? It's one guy. Like, what? You're not gonna have a huge sting operation. It's one person. The police doesn't work that. And there are many times in Lucifer. The other qualm I have with Lucifer is there are things on crime scenes where I'm like, oh God, that person's not allowed to be just on the scene. Wait, did they just touched evidence? It's completely botched. But then in the back of my mind I go, but it's Los Angeles where we know they regularly taint evidence and people end up walking free. So maybe it's just they're trying to remain consistent. I want to close off by saying this. When we moved into this house, I had envisioned this would be the hockey set for hockey videos, and that I would have a set for the entertainment guy, and they would be separate. And Yvonne and I have been talking about it again, and it is a matter of just making the room to make that happen. So I've got some plans in place where that's likely. I did talk about how I had a discussion with Tala Ash, and that was fun. And I thought, if I could do interviews, right. And I need to not have a hockey background. I need to have like my Funko background that's in that other room, but that room is too congested right now. So we need to figure out a way to get that all uncongested and have one set here, one set there. And then if I'm doing an entertainment guy video, you won't see this. Now, the only thing is you won't see the cats in the entertainment guy videos because I don't have a cat tree in the kitchen downstairs, and we don't really have the room. I have room where I could basically set up a computer like this and a webcam and have that set up in there, and then have one set up in here. And I'd like to have it separate where I can have this set up here and another set up in there. So it's a plan that's in motion, and I do intend to have that. And part of forcing myself to do it is that through Wizard World, I've decided I'm going to get some autographed 8x10s. When you buy them through eBay, they're probably fakes. And I'm going to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this in a recent video or not, I did a search for Lauren Cohen for a picture to use of her on the set. And I thought, well, if it's an autographed picture, that'd be kind of cool. But there were autographed pictures of pictures that weren't her. So, I don't trust, and yeah, they come with certificate of authenticity. It doesn't matter. They don't mean anything. I could stand here right now and sign an 8x10 of a hockey player and send it out to you with a really cool certificate I designed. It doesn't mean anything. And it goes back to, I remember when hockey cards were being screwed around with, where people were selling real autographed hockey cards. And it got to the point where Brett Hull would bend the corners because he didn't want you selling it. Well, then that proved Brett Hull signed it. So people would have a counterfeit and then they'd bend the corner. So it's impossible unless you have a picture of the guy signing the card. And that's what people said too. Make sure you have a picture of the guy signing the card to prove that it's autographed. But then how do you know that I didn't get him to sign one and then I signed 8 others? Right? So you don't know. There's no serial number on the card. So with autographed pictures, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have autographed pictures in the background and to have them, on the walls and that kind of thing. So I ordered 3 from the Legends of Tomorrow cast. I ordered one of Katie Lotz, who's Sarah, Jess McCallan, who is Ava, and I ordered one, of course, of Tal Ash, who plays Zari. And I'll frame those, put them on the wall, and then I'll have like this really cool looking kind of set for the Entertainment Guy site. I have a studio light that I've already got in that kitchen anyways, but it's just a matter of having that entire setup done and having it all put together. So it's some work we had intended to do during the spring anyways, and then the world came to an end. So like junk removal services, all this other kind of stuff where they'd come into your house, it became a lot less attractive during that time. But I've messaged Yvonne and said, yeah, we need to get on this. So the plan is that when those pictures arrive and I get them framed, get them up on that wall, use that as an incentive to really get this channel off the ground as well. So it's not just a bunch of hockey memorabilia in the background, because I do have a lot of really cool looking Funkos. I got a brand new Luke Skywalker where he's got Yoda on his back from Empire Strikes Back. That's in that room. That's in that setup, in that display. And I think that would be really cool. So that is coming. I don't have a timeline on that right now, but with hockey settling down where it's not 12 hours a day, which is where it was at a couple weeks ago, it makes things a little bit easier. And I'm enthused by the growth I've seen on the hockey channel, and it's left me saying, you know what, Shannon, if you can get that set for the entertainment guy up and running, and you can have the videos look completely different from one channel to the other, that will benefit this channel and give it a better chance of really taking off. So that's the plan. That's the plan, and it means I'll have to take the Rammstein flag down in the other room, because that takes up so much wall space, and I'll want to use that wall space for the pictures. So there you go. There's your update. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of these topics on the board. Are you excited for the Batman movie? And just as a side question, the idea that we're going to see movies being released in theaters and digitally at the same time. I discussed this months ago where I thought that could become a new normal. If Hollywood thinks they can make just as much money to justify the huge budgets, or if Hollywood can find a way to cut those giant budgets down, which have been over-bloated for ages, this may be the new normal. Where they say, you know what, we make so much money on the digital releases, you can release it in the theater and on digital at the same time. The problem is, of course, that's going to hurt theaters. But movie theaters in general, we've already seen some chains struggling financially, and I don't think that's going to change. I think there were already chains that were struggling financially before March took place and everything shut down. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and do hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and you just happened upon this video. I will talk to you again soon.